Cowabunga dudes and dudettes, this is Anthony, aka Batbomb82, and today I'll be doing my 206th Mezco Toys 112 Collective action figure review, this time being of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now as we can see, these figures come in a very large box, with a great image of the figures bursting through a bunch of comic book-like pages. And if we turn the box around, we can see a breakdown of the figures and all of their accessories. And if we remove the slipcover, we can see a vintage comic book design of the four turtles. So with the box out of the way, let's go ahead and crack these figures open and let them breathe.
Alright guys, now the Mezco Ninja Turtles are finally here. I know this is one that a lot of us have been waiting for, so let's go ahead and just jump right into this because we have a ton to check out. And I'm just going to go down the row here from left to right. So we're going to go ahead and start off with Michelangelo, the party dude. These are fantastic looking figures. Oh my god, the amount of detail in like the shells and the skin, I mean, just everything about these guys feels textured. You know, this is what I really feel like a comic book turtle should look like, man. The proportions are just fantastic. Again, all the detailing of like their front shells look really great, and how dirty those things are. I love stuff like that. The skin tone has that really nice dark wash over all of them, you know, so it really feels like they live in the sewer. I think that's super dope, man. But all this, even in like the knee pads and things like that. Now the knee pads and the wrist, or the elbow pads, both of those have a little elastic string, so they do have like a little bit of give to them, so you can move those around, you know what I mean. The wrist pads are sculpted plastic, but this is a little stretchy, you know what I mean, again, to move around for your articulation and things like that. And then all the belts, those are like leather like materials, so those are soft goods as well. And again, those look very, very nice, dude. But man, this is just a great looking figure. All of them are great looking figures. And what I really like is all the different skin tones that we're getting here. You know, Mikey is the lighter, almost like yellowish green type of skin tone. And you see all the different skin tones throughout the figures, which is really cool. So I love the way this one turned out. Next up, let's go ahead and move on to Leo here, my personal favorite turtle. This is my guy. Leo has always been my guy. And again, this just looks really, really nice, man. Again, I love the different skin tones. Like, again, compared to like Michelangelo, you can see the different skin tones that they use for all the turtles, which is just really, really cool, man. I love that attention to detail. But again, that dark wash, I love all the bumping and things like on their skin tones. It just looks really good. And I love how, again, how dirty they are. These guys are just in the muck and in the streets and things like that. Again, they live in the sewers. They're not going to be super clean and polished. I mean, these guys live, and I love even things like the painted toenails and the fingernails and things like that. I love the big turtle feet. They look so good, and that really awesome shell. You can see he has the leather like belt as well, so holsters for the katanas and little buckles and things like that made of actual little metal. I just love this look across the strap or over the shoulder strap like that with a padding right there. Looks really, really nice, man. And his face just looks so awesome. I'll show off all the faces a little later because each one of them comes with multiple heads, which is really fun. But again, this is another great looking figure. And for my favorite turtle, I think he turned out awesome. Moving on to Raphael here. Oh my god, another great looking figure. Again, I love the pouches that we get here. His red bandana looks really good as well. Again, different skin tones across the board here. I'll bring in Leonardo here. And again, these ones aren't too dramatically different, but you can see Leonardo does feel like a little bit of a brighter green, or maybe like a more richer green, where this one seems a little more toned down. But again, I still do like the fact that they gave him all different colors, which works out great. And I love the gritting teeth. He is all scarred up, and you can see all the nicks and scratches all over all of that. And they all have their different scratches and things like that. But that looks really cool. Just how detailed that shell is. It looks so good, man. All the wash throughout there. What a great looking figure. I love the bandanas, and I'll show those a little later. But my god, these all turn out so good. Even with like the back of the head, you can see like almost like the scaling of a turtle head and things like that. That is really, really cool attention to detail, man. Awesome looking piece. Again, Mezco is killing it with these guys. I'm just so stoked to finally have the turtles in hand. Now we can go on to Donatello here. I think he looks awesome too, man. I'm just going to be using awesome all the time throughout this entire video. I already feel like I've said it a dozen times, but these figures are so good. I really like what they did here. Again, he has a different skin tone, just like all the different ones all do. You know, see Raphael here has a much brighter green, where Donatello's always had more of a muted green, almost a brownish green, you know, very darker in that aspect like that, you know what I mean? But again, you see all this nicks and scratches and things like that on his inner shell, or his low, I guess his lower shell, I don't know what you would call that. And then you turn this around, again, you see the back shell looks really good. You got a holster right there for his bow staff. The legs and the feet all look nice. The painted toes, all of them look awesome. I love the purple bandana there. I love the big white eyes that they gave them. They look so good like that. I don't like turtles with pupils all that much. I always like the whited out eyes way better, and he just looks really good like that. Now, something I kind of really want to show off, a lot of people were just going to assume that a lot of these are just going to reuse the exact same body parts and just put on a different colored head and things like that. That's kind of true. A lot of like the limbs are similar, but I mean, you can see Michelangelo's biceps do feel a little bit buffer than Donatello's here. And I'll bring in Leonardo, you know what I mean? He seems to share the same biceps as Michelangelo here, maybe just slightly more muscular, or that's probably just the paint, you know what I mean? But there are similar things. Like if you turn around the shells here, you can see the different nicks that kind of match up. Like you have one coming across the center one right here, just like that. This one right here comes right here. You got another one like that, like that. So there are similarities in certain parts that, of course, that are going to be reused. Like I think all the feet might be the same, you know, things like the hands and stuff like that, with the exception of specific weapon holding hands. But you do get different parts as well. I think the most unique one is definitely going to be Raphael here. I noticed when comparing all of them, his chest piece right here is very different. It has more scars and things like that, and it does have different scratches on the back of his shell. So as far as like different parts usage, I feel like his is probably the most unique between all four of them, where meaning he doesn't utilize a lot of the same parts like the other ones do. And I'm sure if I went piece by piece, you could break it down maybe. But as far as things like the shells go, they are different. It's kind of like the same thing with like Leonardo here. And I believe, was he Raphael here? Or excuse me, Leonardo and Donatello, like their front shell's the same. You can see the scratch right here, and the paint's kind of covering it, but you can kind of see the two nicks right here, the same one right there, and right there, things like that. So again, you do get similar parts here and there, but they're not just straight up repaints of each other. And I definitely appreciate the different molds, because that really helps differentiate the figures and makes each one feel like something special. Now, moving on to the accessories, we of course do get a circular base stand with every turtle, color coordinated to that turtle. So we have the orange one right here. We have a nice blue one for Leonardo. We have a red one for Raphael. And then we have a purple one for Donatello. And then, of course, we do get 4 of the articulated arms that come with every Mezco figure, which is great. Moving on, these guys just come with a ton of other stuff. Like you get interchangeable hands for each individual turtle, since they do have the different types of skin tones, things like that, and they also do hold separate types of weapons. So you're going to have different types of gripping hands for each turtle, which is going to be really cool. And those all look fantastic, man. I mean, you pretty much get everything you're going to need to get any type of pose you're going to want with all the turtles, which is very cool here. Now, what I also do like, I'm going to bring in the turtle here. We do get interchangeable bandanas. So I'm going to bring in Mikey here. Now you can see he has the more standard smaller bandana like that, which is really cool. And they all come with those types of bandanas straight out of the package. But you can go ahead and pull this out. And we also do get the longer bandanas that are just on a peg like so. And I want to get that in there and not tear it at all. Or if you want something like that, you can have the longer style bandanas, which again, I think are really cool. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know which I'm going to want to pose them with, man. And since they are on that little peg, you can kind of like swivel them side to side and things like that. If you kind of wanted them blowing in the wind, you know, get a little cool ninja poses, you know, posted at the top of a building and things like that, you can do that. It's really cool. So like here's Donatello. I'm gonna go ahead and pull his off like that. And if you want the longer bandana, you can go ahead and import that in like so. So I don't know, man. I really like the shorter bandanas because they remind me more of like the vintage toys. But something about the longer bandanas, I think those look really awesome too. So it's really cool just to have that option. Okay, so now let's talk about the head sculpts, because we do get 3 head sculpts for every turtle, which is great, man. They did such a good job. So we're going to start off with Mikey here. He's got kind of that sideways smile, which looks really nice on the head that comes packaged in the box. We also do get the more kind of like a scared looking head. I love this one. It's so expressive. And the one eye is just slightly more open than the other, which looks really cool. And then, of course, we do get a really happy head for Michelangelo with his tongue sticking out. That just looks amazing, man. All of them are just great head sculpts. Moving on to Leonardo. I love this one specifically, again, for that kind of like side grin, kind of gritting teeth thing. That really reminds me of the vintage toy, because the vintage toy had that kind of like side mouth open thing going on. That looks really nice. Then we get a more stoic, more focused-like head for Leonardo, which works perfectly. I think that looks great, too. And then I love like the yelling head with the open mouth showing his teeth, kind of showing like he's leading his brothers into battle. I think that's really, really cool. I'm moving on to Raphael here. We, of course, do get that grading one where he just, of course, looks pissed, which is going to be crazy because all of his heads look pissed. Then he gets one that was a little more serious with the squinted eyes. I love the really thin white eyes, look really nice, too. And then the yelling one, I mean, he is just ready to just tear up some foot members. I just love that head. That's probably definitely gonna be the one I have on my shelf. Then moving on to Donatello, we have the one where we're showing the teeth. It looks really nice. And I love the one where he's kind of like a side smile with one eye a little bit wider than the other. That looks really good. Almost like he's like, I don't know, winking at April O'Neil. I don't know, but it looks good. And then the last one for Donatello looks awesome. For some reason, this one kind of reminds me of like the movie Turtles, for the movie Donatello from the first and second movies for some reason. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but they all look great, man. So it's really cool that you get all these different head options, and they are just on simple ball pegs. You know, they have that softer insert inside the head there, and you know, switching heads for a Mezco figure is just so satisfying. When you pop it on, you get that little popping sound like that. That is just a very satisfying sound when you pop and swap a Mezco figure. So breaking down all the different accessories for each turtle, we of course do get Michelo's nunchucks here, which look really good. I love the wood grain, and then like that dirty metal that we see here, it all looks really nice. Now you can see that we actually do get a real metal chain, but threaded through the middle chain is actually a bendy wire, so you can pose them around and things like that. I think that's really cool. It doesn't work perfectly, but I do like it. The fact that they even included that, I think, is really, really awesome. And what's going to be a little tricky, honestly, in some occasions, is kind of like putting the weapons into the different holsters and things like that. Some of them don't fit all that great, so you kind of have to finagle them and just use a little bit of caress when you're going through them, but it works out really good still. You also get this weapon, which I think is funny. Now, I remember when this weapon came with the Vintage Turtles, this one and like the hook sword here, I think those are really fun. I never understood what you do with this weapon. Like, do you hold it like in your palm like that and just like smash people at the side of the head? Is that what you do with it? I don't know, but it's still cool. I love the fact they included stuff like this. And you also get these tiny little like dart thingies here. They all each come with like different types of like shurikens and things like that. Even for Mikey here, in the front of the belt, you get little tiny little things, strap holsters, things that you could plug these into and like holster them on the belt. So I mean, you got good storage for a lot of these things, which is really nice. And then you get these little separate handles, which are great too. Now these are just separate handles like this, again, same as the nunchucks themselves, but you get 2 of these whirling effect pieces here that you can plug right in the center like that, and those look awesome, man. I love that a lot of different companies have been doing this with the turtles over the past, 10 years or so around that, where you give these whirling nunchuck effects, which looks really cool. And again, you do get 2 of those, so you can get some really cool action poses with Mikey. Of course, moving on to Leo's accessories, we've got to have his signature katana, which are really, really nice. I love just all the texturing, all the wrapping they did for the sheaths here, and the dirtiness they gave to them. And they look really, really cool. And you could feed these through the little back spaces right here, just kind of just slide in. And again, you will have to finagle them, so they can be kind of a pain in the butt, but they do work. You also get really cool like kunais, and again you have little holsters like they're on the belt and things. Again, it's just really cool how much stuff you can actually holster with these guys, which is something I kind of didn't really expect. And then you get these really cool like claw weapons. I do love these a lot for like climbing or just slashing at people. These are a lot of fun. And then one thing that comes with all the turtles, you get this little hook piece. What you're gonna do, you're gonna kind of like hook this under the belt, kind of like feed it through under here, and it's going to kind of like hang. That's going to be for like different types of accessories. I'll just pull this off real quick, like this little hook right here, and it could dangle from the belt and things like that. They all come with those. So if you're not sure what that's for, you can use them for something like that, or if you want to hang something else off their belts, you can use it for pretty much whatever you need. Now on to Raphael's accessories. We of course got his signature sai, which just looked beat up and worn. I love the way these turned out, man. He does have little holsters on the belt right here. You kind of just like feed those through like that. And again, some of these can be a little tricky to get on, but that looks really, really good too. He also comes with Tomfas, which I think is great. I love the fact that he comes with these. I guess I'm not really sure. I really don't know if he uses these in the comic books that much, but I guess it reminds me of that new cartoon that a lot of us did not like, where he used Tomfas instead of sais. So those are kind of cool. I do like the fact that we even got those weapons with this set. We also do, of course, get that signature fist blade thing that came with the vintage toy. This thing is gnarly. That is a crazy looking weapon, and it kind of almost looks like there's like a silver gem in the middle right there. I don't know, that looks really cool too. But one thing I'm noticing, we do get like a little sheath right here, and I kind of figured I'm going to slide it through this thing, but it's like glued or stitched right here, so this doesn't actually go all the way through, which I figured that's how it would have been, you know, again, just like the vintage toy, but that does not work. So I don't know if that's what it's for, or mine is just like stuck and like it's glued in place. I don't know, but I figured that's what that would have been for. We also get a bunch of little shurikens for him too, these little ninja stars like that, which again, my fat fingers can't really show you guys, but I mean, you see those right there. Those look really cool too. He also gets the shuriken effect piece, and you could technically use this for any of the turtles, but since he specifically uses these shurikens, I guess it's more meant for him. You could put that one in the grippy hands like he's throwing these ninja stars, which I just think looks badass, man. And one thing I'll just show right now, I love the fact that he comes with his undercover disguise hat. You can see it has a peg in there that is meant to plug into the bandana piece. So you can take off the bandana, plug that in there, and put the hat on, like something like that. There you go. And then he wears the hat perfectly, and that's not going anywhere, man. I love that they added the peg into the hat. That just works really, really well. Now for Donatello, we get his signature bow staff, which is really great. We only get one of these. I kind of wish we had gotten two, but it looks really nice. I like the wrap around there and things like that. We do get that same like hook sword and like fisted blade thing that we saw already. He also does come with some kunais, which are really nice as well. And now this is where things get a little more high-techy for my boy Donatello here. He comes with these really cool goggles that have these nice translucent green lenses in them. You can see that. That's really dope, man. So you can go ahead and pop off the bandana here and like pop those on like that. Like so. You can't put the bandana because the strap does cover the hole like that. But if you want to do that for him, I think that looks awesome, man. What a cool look for Donnie here. So I'm gonna take those off and put the bandana back on, because he also comes with this thing. I love this. It's a wrist comm, and you see has a little strap here that kind of just, it's a little elastic strap, and you put a little gripping hand that hold onto it. But I mean, you could open this up and he has his own little wrist communicator, a little mini computer board and a screen and things like that. That is a lot of fun. Stuff like this makes Donatello feel special when he has extra things like that to really separate him from the other turtles, you know what I mean? And that sculpt on this and the paintwork is just really nice. All that silver dry brushing and things like that. The dirtiness of some of the parts on this look really, really cool. That is just a fantastic accessory for Donnie. Now for the more like universal accessories, this is mostly meant for Mikey, but it can really be used for any of the turtles. You get a little Walkman here with the headset, which I think is really cool. I love that. It has the actual wire attached to it, you know, pre-iPods and things like that. That's super cool. I do like that. You can kind of just fit that over the head right there, and it fits like perfectly over the turtle's head. And again, it's more so meant for Mikey, but you could really use it for any of the turtles, which I think is great. You get all kinds of like whooshing effects and slashing effects and whirling effects that you can attach to the different types of weapons for giving them more attack poses and things like that, and get some really good photography with all these kinds of slashing effects. I mean, you get so much stuff here. It is really impressive when you open this up and you just see all the cool things that we get. You even get these like throwing kunai effects like we saw with the Ninja Star ones for Raphael. You get these ones where he's throwing kunais. Again, these can be used more specifically for like Leonardo, but you can use them for any of the turtles. They work universally, which I think is great. And you get 2 of those. And then, of course, you get things like slices of pizza because it's the turtles, man. Pizza time. You get 2 of these that have like the more melty cheese, which look really good. And then you got 2 different sculpts right here. I thought these were going to be the same sculpts, but you see, these kind of like fit together as like they just pulled apart. So that's really awesome. These are 2 individual sculpts, and then these share the same sculpt. So you got each one slice per brother, which is a lot of fun. Now, we also do get things like the turtle comms, which is great as well. And you can actually open these up. And if you see when you open it up, the antenna kind of like pop open. Do you see that? That's really cool. And you kind of got to get a little more tug to get it fully open. But that's really cool, dude. I love the fact that it's almost like a functioning antenna for the turtle comms. I think that's super dope. We also do get these really nice grapple hooks, which are, again, I showed you could hang on those little peg pieces that attach to the belt. These are a lot of fun. If you pull down on this piece right here, you can kind of, or push up, excuse me, you can see where the hooks will kind of like protrude. So if you put them down and then put them out, you can see where those will come out like that. And it has a little hook right there at the bottom, or a little loop, I should say. That's because they all come with actual like string ropes. It has a little hook there that you can clip on to like that. And then you get some like wall climbing poses and ninja things like that. So that's a lot of fun, man. You get just so much stuff with this. It is really, really mind-blowing to see. Now for the last bit of accessories, I'm going to show you all the extra soft goods that these things come with. And they're kind of meant for specific turtles. And you can do that, but for me, I mean, they're semi-universal. You know, you do have this red scarf here that we've seen with other figures in the past, like the Ronin Wolverine and things like that. It's on a bendy wire, so this is a really nice scarf. You can pose it with Raphael since it is red, but I mean, technically, you can put it with any of the turtles. You got this really cool signature like cape, which looks really nice. Signature. Why did I say signature cape? Who the hell signaturely has a cape besides like the freaking shredder in the turtles? I don't know why I said that. Anyways, this has a bendy wire as well running through the top here. It's kind of like shredded and has holes and things like that. And you can wrap this around the turtles and do kinds of different things. You know what I mean? They're ninjas and they can be pretty stealthy, so sometimes they need stuff like that. You get this really cool black hooded cloak kind of thing, which is really nice as well. Bendy wire all throughout that. Same thing on the back right here. It does have a hood with the bendy wire in it, so you can pose around the hood. That's really cool as well. You also have like a more brown version. This is like more like a full-on cape here, which is really nice. And you can kind of see has like a hole right there. That's for, again, I believe this is more for Donatello or Leonardo, but it has like a little area where I think it's more for Donatello, because then you can put the bow staff through like the cape like that, you know what I mean? And then again, you have a little hood right here that has a little bit of a bendy wire that kind of runs down the seam of the back right here, so that's really cool. And I'm not going to put all these on the different figures right now. I just really don't want to. You guys get the idea. They're pretty easy to understand. This one is, again, this one could be used for any of the turtles, but this is more of a trench coat. You know, since Raphael did come with that hat, you could pop this trench coat on there like that, and he could tumble with Casey Jones over a Jose Canseco bat and all that kind of cool stuff. So that's really cool, dude. And does have a bendy wire on the little belt piece right there. So really fun accessory as well. And then the last one is going to be this really cool sweater. Now, this one is definitely more, Mikey, inspired with that bright orange and that neon green. It's really cool looking. Again, you can use it for any other turtles, but this one feels very Mikey centric, you know what I mean? Has an actual working zipper. The hood actually has a bendy wire in it. I love like the fabric on the inside of the hood. That looks really cool. You got the tassels right here. This is a lot of fun, man. It's just really, really cool. I love all these options that we're getting. More options always make toys more fun, in my opinion, and all the added soft goods for figures that don't necessarily use a lot of soft goods. That's a really good inclusion by Mezco. Now for the articulation, I'm just going to use Raph here because they all pretty much are the same. So the head and the neck are on separate ball pegs, so you can kind of roll that around. That looks really nice. It does turn left and right. Up about that far, but the back of the head is going to hit the back of the shell right there. You can look down about that far, which is pretty nice, and then pivot side to side. That looks really good. Arms can go all the way up full 360 if you want to, all the way out like so. We got rotation at the bicep. We got double jointed elbows. We got rotation at the wrist, as well as a hinge at the wrist, so that works out really good too. We do get articulation in here. The upper part of the torso and the lower part of the torso are separate pieces, so you can see there's like a ball peg in there that kind of swivels around and things like that, so you can kind of move him around, rotate a tiny bit, crunch back and forth a tiny bit, but just because of the nature of the shells and the body proportions and things like that, you can't get anything too crazy dynamic, but there is articulation in there. Again, you can kick forward up about that far, back about that much, splits out about that far, rotation in the upper thigh. We get double jointed knees where they can kick themselves in their own shell just like that. Ankles are on ball pegs, rotate up and down, and a very, very good ankle rocker, and he is just sagging like a mofo right now while I'm doing all this. And that's one thing I noticed when I'm playing with these, especially these guys who don't have the over-the-shoulder straps like Raphael and Michelangelo here. These belts might come down here every once in a while you're posing them, so you constantly kind of have to like shimmy them back up, but they still look great, man. I love this set. These are just a ton of fun. All of these are just great looking figures, and they are absolutely profoundly a must get.
So for a quick size comparison, here they are standing next to a Marvel Legends Deadpool and Mafex Batman figure. And for your Mezco Ninja comparison, here they are standing next to the White Assassin Gomez and Snake Eyes. And for even more Mezco comparison, here they are standing next to a 112 Collective Batman and Wolverine. And for some TMNT comparisons, here's Leonardo standing next to my favorite versions that I have in my collection, being the NECA movie, my vintage childhood Leonardo, the NECA comic book turtle, and the Super 7 Ultimates. And here we see Michelangelo with those same comparisons. Next up we have Raphael with those same comparisons. And of course we have Donatello with those same comparisons. And just for fun, here they are with little Lego Bat Bomb. So there it is, guys, my review of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And when Mezco first even debuted these figures, I was just shocked that we were getting TMNT and the Mezco 112 Collective. That was insane, I could not believe it, and they do not disappoint. Yes, this is a $400 set. That means $100 per brother. That is absolutely worth it for everything that you get here. Incredible detailed sculpting, some of the best paint I have ever seen on a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figure, all kinds of interchangeable hands. Each character gets multiple soft goods, multiple weapons, different types of display options, different interchangeable heads. You got pizza slices, different types of shurikens and effect pieces. I mean, it goes on, and the articulation is actually pretty good. That's pretty rad. I absolutely love these pieces. These quite possibly might be some of, if not the best Ninja Turtle figures that have ever been put out at any scale. I genuinely do mean that as a longtime TMNT collector, and I have a lot of TMNT figures on my shelves. These are top tier. Awesome toys, great job by Mezco, and I think they will look amazing in any of your collections. So be excellent to each other, and stay nerdy, my friends. Peace.